I don't know how many years we've done Chelsea Flower Show together, and it is like walking around with royalty because everybody knows you. If I was to ask for one of the highlights of you and I presenting, one of your memories of you and I presenting at Chelsea Flower Show, what would it be? I know I haven't given you any time to think about this, but what would it be?
I have two. One is the very first time, because of the power of holding a BBC microphone in my hand, I was able to get onto and into a show garden. Normally, we have to stand behind a rope and rail like everybody else. And very occasionally during the week, I might get to be on one if I'm doing some filming with BBC TV. But to be on one with the garden designer, walking around it, that blew me away. It was Jo Thompson's garden. She'd built a little eyrie that I had to climb up into, and the detail even inside was exquisite, and I will never forget it. In fact, I was filing photos and spotted the pictures of it the other day, and I will pop them on Insta later.
Can hear the birds. The birds in your garden are so loud. And please put them on Instagram because before we have your second, I've got two as well. My first is when you somehow managed for me to get onto the swing that Kate Middleton's children, and no one was allowed. And as I got on it, somebody who was guarding this, I mean, this is a garden that Her Majesty had. Do we call her or Her Highness? I don't know.
Highness.
Thank you. You're more familiar with them. In and out of Buckingham Palace he is all the time. Anyway, it was a swing for children, and I got on it, and someone said, "It's for children," and you said, "Well, look at her. She's no bigger than a child." And I was swinging back and forth, and I remember thinking, can you imagine if I'd broken that? Because it was only the second day of Chelsea. So that was my memory. Go on, your second.
And I have footage of that. I had video of that, and I actually filed that yesterday. So that's definitely going on.
Lucy is salivating over the fact that she wants that footage. She really wants that footage.
And my second is, do you remember last year we were lucky enough to get into that absolute heavenly, tranquil space that is the Jardin Blanc, and got ourselves in there, which is just this beautiful haven of delicious restaurants and bars and tranquil seating in the shade. We then were able to meet the man himself, Raymond Blanc. Do you remember?
Do I remember? Amy and I just nodding, and then two people who follow me on YouTube came over. I was squealing. I was like, I'd gone off the graph at that point. Everything had just sort of arrived in 1 hour in this beautiful setting. And he came up and greeted you like an old friend, because I think, do you serve? I was going to say, do you serve him? Do you supply his flowers?
No, but I work with the Belmond Group, and Belmond Le Manoir and I have worked together for very many years. And so for years I've done, together with the RHS, he's a great RHS advocate. So for years we have done combined garden tours, flower demonstrations and lunches at Le Manoir, which is always a real treat. So I've known him for quite some while, and he is a fabulous, charismatic character.
My other memory is, and I'm just going to say it as it is, I think we say it when we're there, we are never allowed to eat BBC food. We still don't know why, because we are the poor relative. We're radio, and yet we managed to run around Chelsea without a cherry picker camera or anything else. We literally cover the whole of the Chelsea Flower Show in one show, but we're never allowed to eat BBC food. And we've tried, we've attempted, we've gone in with our lanyards flying, and at the final hour, they go, "Sorry, who do you work for?" And we go, "BBC Radio London." "No, you're not allowed to eat in here." So we're not allowed any of it. I managed to grab a roll once, I think. Anyway, I will remember we were all in our green room, which is a tent behind where we broadcast. And Jason Rossum had got a pile of food. I don't know where he'd got it from. I think he probably managed to sneak in. And he was sitting there eating a mound of food, and you went, "Fresh lettuce or herbs, anyone?" And you'd brought out all this greenery that you'd grown in your garden. It was one of my favourite ever moments. And you supplied us with homemade bread, homemade lettuce and tomatoes, all from your sort of Mary Poppins bag.
Meanwhile, Jason Rotham was ploughing through, quite a lot of deep-fried treats, weren't
from the BBC catering pan.